Sunday afternoon, and we always do this.
And now on the Two Murrays, Strata Matters with Stephen Brell for the Strata Community Association, New South Wales, the peak body representing the strata industry.
Stephen's with us. If you'd like to speak with him about anything to do with Strata, 131873. That's the number 131873. Hello.
Good afternoon, gents. How are you?
Doing,
yeah,
mate?
nice to see you again,
Really well.
Stephen. I've got a query here from a listener regarding Strata. It's quite a long one. Look, the first Strata meeting in December 2023, the only person who attended of 7 units was this person. Myself and the Strata company spoke about continuing on Strata services for another 12 months. Strata fees around $200 a unit a year. I wanted to see all the receipts for previous services. Late December, I beg your pardon, the Strata company emailed me a single-page document that was required to be signed, and in the email from the Strata company said the document had to be signed as a committee member. There was no further information attached along with the document required signing. What's going on? I mean, all just new into the Strata organisation, no one turns up except the newcomer, and is getting a run around from the Strata Manager.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, they've been asked to sign a contract for the Strata management firm. Okay, which is not uncommon. However, before you sign anything as a committee member, I'd be making sure that you are understanding what you are signing and what you are committing the owners corporation to. Because as a committee member, you do have binding powers, over the owners corporation or the body corporate. So it's very, very important that you do understand what you're getting yourself into.
I think you mentioned last week, and probably get some clarification. As a committee member, it's just not something fun to be part of, is it? Because you're legally liable, aren't you? You're responsible for what you're putting your name to and what you're putting your signature to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, most committee members are volunteer people that jump onto a Strata committee. They are acting in the best interests of the owners corporation, absolutely, in the body corporate. It can be a little bit of a minefield if you don't know what you're doing. So, our organisation does offer training for committee members. So we do have resources if you're looking to find out what the obligations of a committee member are. And there are a few. So we've heard many times that Mr. Murray Olds is the secretary of his owners corporation. So
Only because I can type.
Okay, fair enough.
Only because I can type. I can type really quickly.
Yeah, that's right. So there are duties. So the easiest way that I think of it is, being a committee member is not unlike being on the board of directors of a company. Okay, so you are responsible for the proper governance of the owners corporation, and you do have responsibilities and liabilities to the other owners in your strata scheme.
Just further to that first paragraph, I said it was quite long. Basically, the person who's just signed up has signed on now for $515 per unit, 5% over 36 months, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I was falsely made to sign the document, as the initial email never indicated it was to finalise the agreement. It was merely because I was a committee member. Who can I actually ring to discuss this further? It would be your organisation. What is the best telephone number, mate?
It's 9492 8200. So, yeah, and I was just peering over your shoulder then, Murray, and by the looks of it. So this is in relation to the Strata management contract. Now, this is something particularly for New South Wales listeners. When you first sign up a Strata manager in the first year in the life of the building, so a brand new building, a Strata manager can only be appointed for 12 months. Right, that's the maximum term that they can be appointed for. For year 2 and 3 and beyond, you can be appointed for a maximum of 3 years. Seemingly, what's happened here to the listener is the manager, instead of giving them a 1-year contract, has given them a 3-year contract, which is a huge no-no. You should not do that. So there are a couple of places for them to go to complain. Fair trading is one. If they are a member of our organisation, we will certainly investigate on their behalf and make sure that they're spoken to.
Well, I hope that helps. So here's the number for Stephen and his team in Sydney, certainly, 9492 8200.
Okay, let's go to the open line, 131873. If you want to have a chat to Steve, you've got about another 50 minutes to do so. Naomi has called through from Sylvania. Hello, Naomi.
Hello, Bill. Yeah. Hi. Sorry. I just want to know, my son just got an email. They just moved into their first unit, and they got an email the other day saying they need to pay 2 payments. One's $13,000 and one's like $10,000 because they're going to do renovations on the building. They've only just bought it a year ago and they weren't aware of it, and they got the money pretty quickly. So they're pretty devastated. They're only young kids. So I was just wondering, can that be paid off, or does it have to be given in a lump sum to the strata?
Yeah, it's a good question. So normally when you're an owners corporation is raising levies, whether they be the quarterly levy instalments or special levies, they will set the dates for when the levies are due and the amounts that they are due. Now, when you have fairly large levies, by the sounds of it, like what your son has,
$23,000.
yeah, it's a lot. You can ask for special dispensation from the owners to say, hey, look, can we pay these off in instalments? Now, part of the problem is there, depending on the cash flow of the owners corporation, that may be difficult, but it does not hurt to ask. The other thing which they can ask for is that for any interest on those levies to be waived. But again, that's got to go back to a general meeting of the owners corporation. So I think the best thing for them to do is open a dialogue with either the Strata committee or the Strata manager, let them know what their circumstances are, that, $23,000 is a bit of a hit for them in the first year in the life of the building. And they can also enter into what's called a payment plan for the levies as well, where they will say, look, we can only afford X amount per month. Will you permit us to do that? Right, and they can pay it off in instalments. So ask for a payment plan. That may be the first point of call, and then take it from there.
Does that help?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it does help because they've charged, everybody in the whole the block of units have all been charged by the size of their property, of their inside. So it's not the biggest. Yeah. So anyway, well, thanks for that. I'll let them know.
Okay, Naomi, good on you. Thank you so much. Which prompts a question from me.
Yep.
If someone is going into the strata environment, right, you want to buy, young people, their first unit. What obligation is there on the strata manager of the existing property or the strata committee of the existing property when someone new is buying in to actually say, listen, in 12 months' time, we're going to be levying $23,000 for urgent works? I mean, there's got to be an obligation, surely. You can't go in blindfolded.
Yeah, there's actually, at the moment, there's no obligation. All the obligation is on a purchaser when they're buying a property. And
but how are they supposed to divine there's going to be some works coming up?
Yeah, that's right. So I would encourage any person who is buying a property to undertake what's called a Strata Search, and you can go in and actually search the records of the owners corporation.
Right.
Now, a skilled searcher, they will be able to go through the records and decipher fairly quickly how the governance of the building is going. So are they adequately funded? Do they have adequate insurances? What's the harmony like in the building? Is there a lot of conflict going on in the property?
The sinking fund?
That's right. How much reserve funds do they have? Are there likely any major works coming up? Okay, in the property. Now, again, there is nothing stopping a prospective purchaser from contacting the strata manager and asking these questions as well. There are a lot of strata managers that don't like asking or answering those questions.
Yeah.
However, there's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Because if you go into a place like this, you're absolutely maxed out. A young couple.
No,
just got
very
married.
true, very
You know
true.
what I mean? They've just got the,
Yep.
enough to get the loan.
Yep.
They're stretched. And they get a bill for $23,000, 12
Yeah, no,
months
that's
in.
right. It is. I mean, look, the other thing, like any property, you can walk around it and you can tell for yourself what does the state of repair of the property look like. Is it looking good? I'd also encourage people to get their own pest and building inspections on the property as well. Right. For a relatively small investment, we are talking a few $100s to do it. Again, it can be money well spent.
If you're investing $800,000 or $900,000 or $1 million, that's
right.
chicken feed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're a purchaser and just for some reason there's a meeting that's coming up, are you able to seek permission to attend the meeting just to get the lay of the land that you're not moving
If you haven't actually bought yet.
Well, no, that you're not moving into a block of units with a bunch of psychos. Like, you need to know the lay of the land in regards to the people.
Yeah,
I've been talking to your neighbours, Wilton. Don't worry about that.
But you do. I just wonder, are you able to do that? Can you attend a meeting to see if everybody is getting along or whether it's just a dogfight?
Yeah, generally speaking, you can't. The only way that you could do it is asking the prospective, or asking the buyer, because, hey, can you please appoint me as your proxy and let me in? Okay. But a lot of that will come out in the strata records and the correspondence.
Okay.
Again, if you do get a skilled strata searcher going in, they will be able to tell you what is the harmony like in this building.
Is that $200 or $300 to get that done?
It is $200 or $300 to get it. And again, I would encourage anyone to do it. Quite oddly, it is not a common practice down in Victoria or Queensland, but it is a very common practice in New South Wales.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Because harmony is everything. Trust me.
Yeah,
and I know that's why you live on your vast estate, because you don't get on with any of your neighbours.
But
you mow the lawns,
people are very different in Melbourne to what they are in Sydney.
They're weird down there.
Well, no, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not, actually. I don't think they are.
Their newspapers contain 18 pages of AFL nonsense.
Rowena's on the line from Coffs Harbour. Hello, Rowena.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty well this afternoon. How can we help, Rowena?
I had the bottom of my apartment flooded twice,
Oh, dear.
and I got my contents insurance people involved so I could get rid of all the, soaping wet carpet, etc.
Yeah.
I spoke to I sent an email to the Strata Manager asking how I go about getting my $700 excess refunded, and he said, "Oh, no, you have to pay that." I have to pay the excess. It's got nothing to do with Strata. And also, the bottom two stairs, they had to remove the carpet. So if I can't match the carpet, I'll probably be up for the cost of recarpeting the entire staircase because they'll just say, not our problem. So I could be out of pocket, a reasonable amount. And the problem was a Strata problem. It was a drain in a garden that was all root bound and blocked, and the water just came into my place. I've been living in turmoil for nearly 4 months.
You poor thing.
And, the whole house is completely upside down. The only room in the house that is not a complete and utter mess is my bedroom, so that's where I'm living. And I just want to know, is that legal? I mean, I can't see that it is legal. It's not. I didn't cause the problem. Yeah. And I should not be out of pocket. I mean, it's bad enough that I'm living like this 4 months later. Yeah, and Rowena, I shouldn't be out of pocket.
What do you think, Stephen?
Rowena, it sounds like a very terrible situation that you've got there. In order for you to win this case, you would have to prove that the owners' corporation was aware that the tree was blocking the pipe. Now, again, that can be difficult to prove. On the surface of what you said, the advice that your Strata Manager has given you is correct. So generally speaking, the owner's corporation or the body corporate is not responsible to pay for the excess of your contents inside your property, unless you had already reported to them or someone had reported to them that the problem was existing. So, and that's what insurance is all about. So in that case, the owner's corporation would have been negligent if they hadn't had the problem fixed. But if they weren't aware of the problem and the pipe is simply backed up, it's going to be a difficult one. However, I'd be encouraging you, by the sounds of it's going to cost you, a few $1,000s for your carpet. The excess is a little bit up. I'd actually be encouraging go out and get some advice from a solicitor, because then you can outline to them exactly what all of the costs are and what the circumstances are, and then they might be able to point you in the right direction. On the surface of what you've said, I don't think you're going to be successful. However, it doesn't hurt to try. Okay.
Listen, no good, mate. Rowena, I beg your pardon. That's tough, isn't it? Twice in a couple of months you've been flooded out, and no fault of your own. It's a bloody nightmare.
Yeah, it is. 131873. That's the number if you want to have a chat to Stephen Brell this afternoon. All right, 131873. Yes.
Let's go to Bathurst.
Yes.
Leon's online. Hi, Leon.
Oh, g'day, guys. Look, we've got a place in Penrith, and we've had that for about 5 years, since it's brand new, opposite Westfield, and we're on the 8th floor, and the people opposite us have put some reflective glass in, and I'll tell you what, at 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it just beams this light straight across to us like it's like you're underneath a microscope.
Oh, my goodness. Like Star Wars with the death ray.
Yeah. It is, yeah. It's so bright, you've got to close all the doors and put the blinds down. So what can I do about that?
So when you say, is it reflecting the sun off the... Have they put like a tinted window in or a tinted glass in, have they, Leon?
Yeah, they have like a reflective glass.
Yeah, okay. So in most strata schemes, and regardless of where you are, New South Wales, Victoria or Queensland, there is a bylaw that most buildings have that says you cannot put anything up that is not in keeping with the appearance of the building. Okay, so if they've put something up and it's not in keeping with the appearance of the scheme, that might be an avenue that you can go down. Do you know if your neighbours had permission to put this in, or they just put it up?
No, look, I'd imagine they didn't have permission. They've just done it because everyone else has just got blinds and
Sure.
We're in a setting with about like 1,000 people living in that complex.
Yeah. The other thing that you can go down, I've mentioned this a couple of times, there is a provision in the strata legislation in New South Wales which is called the law of nuisance. Right. Now, you would need to prove that this reflective window that they've put in is causing a nuisance to you. And by the sounds of it, it is, because every Sunday or every afternoon it's reflecting
every
sun.
Single up. Is it just you, Leon, or is it only your apartment, or your neighbours are having the same issue?
Oh, I'd say the neighbours are too. But I tell you what, it focuses the light so bad that, like, you can imagine if you could fry an egg on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So what I would do in that case, I'd actually just do a little bit of door knocking with the neighbours around you and just saying, hey, are you experiencing this problem as well? The other thing as well might just be reaching out to the neighbour and saying, hey, you've put this reflective screening up on your windows and it is causing us a real issue. By the sounds of it, they've put it up because they're getting the sun come straight into their property. So they're just reflecting onto you. So if you make them aware that this has occurred, hopefully if they are a good neighbour, they'll simply take it down and perhaps replace it with a blind. Yeah. However, aside from that, maybe bandy together with your neighbours around you and see what you can do, taking them to the tribunal.
I reckon a BB gun might be quite helpful.
I wouldn't advocate for that.
No, I'll be doing that. Yep. Good idea, though, Mose. I like it.
I like
your thinking.
Yeah.
Kristen has said, I rent a unit which I live in. I've got non-removable wire screens on my windows and I wish for my windows to be cleaned. Whose responsibility is it to get them cleaned?
Okay, so this is another law in New South Wales. Most of the time, it is the resident's responsibility to clean their own windows, unless cleaning them would be unsafe. Okay, so i.e., if you were to
pull, floor.
If you're on the 8th floor and you're going to fall out your window,
you're
trying
to
to clean
them.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Upside down the side of the building.
So generally speaking, it is the resident's responsibility to clean their own windows. It is unusual that you can't remove your fly screens because normally there is a little clip that you can actually just pull them out. So it might just be asking your landlord how the fly screens work.
Yep.
But generally speaking, they're fairly easy to clip out and clean them up and make sure it's okay.
There you go. All right. Thank you for the text. 131873 is our number. We might take a very short break, yeah?
Very good idea. I'm glad I had it, Muzzy.
Excellent. Stephen Brell is with us, President of the Strata Community Association. If you want to have a chat to him, 131873. Yeah, absolutely. 2:30 in Sydney, 1:30 in Brisbane, 2 Murrays.
This is Strata Matters for the Strata Community Association New South Wales, the peak body representing the strata industry.
Stephen Brell is with us. Mitch has sent us a quick text. He said, hi, gents. I have a security fly screens that are riveted in. This is in regards to the removal of the fly screens. I physically have to take the sliding track windows out to clean them on the outside. They can be very, very heavy as well. So thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it. So it may not be as easy as what we think.
No, it's not. Yeah, sometimes there are those security screens and blockout screens that people do put into their windows to try and provide a little bit of security. Yeah. I would urge caution with those, but if you're on the ground floor, they're great. Yeah. And if you're up higher, they can be good. But again, very difficult to clean your windows if you.
Righto, 131873 is our telephone number. Muzzy, where are we going?
Where would you like to go?
We're going to go to the number 1 line because Christine is on the line from Greenslopes. Hello, Chris. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. This must be a common issue. Please share it with the listeners.
Okay, so we're in a body corporate situation with 6 units. We've known for 6 months that we need to get a whole new roof because it's like 60 years old and it's got rust and stuff.
Right.
So 5 unit owners had the money to pay up and one decided to spend the rest of his money renovating his other house that he's just finished now. And he doesn't have the money to pay for the roof. So we're in a bit of a conundrum about what to do.
Oh, okay. This can't be uncommon, though, Mr. Brell.
No, it's not. Now, again, but if this gentleman owns another property, it doesn't sound like he's short of money. So he may be able to dip into the equity of the property that he owns in your block and take out a loan or extend his home loan in order to pay the levy off. That's one option for him. There are other options. There is a hybrid strata loan product that's on the market at the moment, which allows one resident in a building to essentially take out a loan and pay for levies. And again, it doesn't affect the other residents either, so that's another option. Now, I've got to stress that is a relatively new product. It's only been around for about 12 months. I haven't had any personal experience with it. However, my colleagues in Strata say that it is another option for owners that find themselves in this situation. Another thing that you may want to do, and this is completely up to you and the other owners, like the very first caller, you may want to give him time to actually pay off the levy. So you can say, hey, look, we've got the money to pay for it now. We can actually get the works done and then allow him to pay it off in instalments.
So this one person who says he doesn't have the money could owe the other 5 people who are paying for it?
Yeah, that's right.
And pay it back over a period of time.
Yeah, that's right. They could give special permission to him to pay it off in instalments. And again, there'd have to be fairly strict conditions to that to make sure that he is paying. And if he misses a payment, then interest will occur and that sort of thing.
Do you need a lawyer for that, or can you go through your Strata Manager?
You can go through your Strata Manager.
That's all going to be tickety-boo.
Yeah, that'll all be tickety-boo. Yep.
Well, Christine, you could just get the roof replaced over the units that pay and not is. So when it rains...
That might be difficult.
True.
Yeah. So look, there are options. Yeah, there are options out there for owners in this circumstance, and anyone who is in this type of circumstance, I'd be encouraging them. The spirit here is about cooperation and collaboration, okay? I was feeling, when I saw your phone call come up, I was feeling sorry for the gentleman, but now that I know that he owns an investment property, he's not short of a buck. So there are a few options there for him.
So if the body corporate decide they're going to lend him the money and he's going to pay it back in instalments, what happens if he sells the unit? Who is responsible?
He's still responsible for that. So on the transfer of the so that whenever a levy is passed, it becomes known as what's called a debt upon the lot.
Right.
So when he sells, that he will pay that off, and then the new owner comes in free of debt.
Okay, right. All right. Where are we off to, Mas?
Hope that helps, Christine. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Carlingford because Matt is online. Hello, Matthew. You there, Matt?
No, Matt's not there. Let's go to Margaret at our time. Hello, Margaret.
Hello.
Hi, Margaret.
This is regarding a car space in a 66-unit building. What authority does a strata committee have to enforce a resident to remove all the stuff stored in the car space?
Jeez, we had one like this last week, didn't
we? We did, yeah. So someone's car space is not unlike it's their property. Okay, so they are allowed to store things in their car space. It doesn't necessarily have to be just for parking a vehicle. Now that said, it all depends on what bylaws have been put in place for your strata scheme and how the committee want to enforce those bylaws. So if you have a law within your building that says residents may only use their car parking spaces for parking, right, then you can ask the person to actually remove their goods. If they're simply storing goods in there in absence of because they don't have a car, again, that may be a little bit more difficult to enforce.
Is there a pest problem, Margaret, say rats around the place, or is it spilling over into the adjacent car spaces as well? The specific problem you've got?
Their cars barely fit in their car space.
Yeah, so it is creating a bit of a nuisance for other people by the fact that their car space is sticking out.
Right.
Okay, right.
Yep.
Right. You might have to check the bylaws, Margaret.
Or go down at midnight with a big bin.
Yeah, okay. All right, Margaret, thank you. Where you want to go, Beacon Hill?
I think Beacon Hill's lovely. Tanya's on the line. Hello, Tanya.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks, my dear. How can we help?
I have a 7-year-old townhouse. There's 6 in the complex. The glass panel and the silver frame on the shower that holds the shower door, they've come apart at the corner, and consequently the shower door has dropped and doesn't close properly. Now, is that a thing with the builder or a thing for the strata responsible for? I own the townhouse.
Or do you have to pay for it, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the sounds of it, Tanya, you said that your complex is around 7 years old. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so regrettably, that particular type of defect would be out of warranty by now. And because the shower screen is located within your apartment and not on common property, it doesn't form part of the owner's corporation or part of the common property. So regrettably, in this particular instance, it's going to be your responsibility to repair and maintain.
If I got an engineer to check and see if the land hasn't dropped, because it's the wall, I mean, I was surprised at the glass panel that holds the door. At the top, it has come apart from the wall. Would that be movement of the earth.
It could very well be. Is there any cracking on the tiles within your shower?
No cracking on the tiles, no.
Okay. So that, for me, that would be one of the first telltale signs that there is movement of the ground underneath.
Okay.
And the cost of an engineer to come out and have a look for you, you're probably going to be better off paying a handyman to come out and simply fix up the
shower
screen.
door.
Yeah, that's right. By the sounds of it, it's not uncommon what you're talking about. Shower screens and the hinges on the screens do wear out. But regrettably, in this circumstance, it is not the responsibility of the owners' corporation to look for that.
Okay, Tanya, hope that helps. Maybe just spend a small amount of money on a handyman.
Exactly right.
And they're all over the internet and so on. So this is the two Murrays and Stephen Brell on the Sunday afternoon. Thanks for being with us. Give us a buzz if you have a Strata query, 131 873.
Stephen Brell is with us, President of the Strata Community Association. If you want to have a chat to him, 131 873.
Stephen, can you please repeat how it's possible to do a Strata search? One of our listeners had trouble writing the details down. It's a pretty simple procedure.
It is a very simple process. So most of the time, if you're doing a conveyance, your solicitor or conveyancer would have a Strata search company that they would normally use, and they would refer you to a Strata searcher to do that for you. Now, the other little tip or trick which I'd give to people is, if you're looking for something specific, you can always ask the searcher to look for that specific information. So things like, is there going to be any major maintenance coming up on the building?
New roof,
that sort of thing.
Are there any crazy people on the body corporate?
You behave yourself over there.
Murray's on the line.
Yeah, hello, Murray.
From Picton.
Oh, hi. Just inquiry. I'm in a duplex and we're able to break the strata. Just wondering how to do that.
Okay. When you say that you're able to break the strata, are you meaning that you want to convert?
Both parties are interested.
Yeah, you want to convert the property back to Torrens title is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that you'd have to do, you'd have to go to your local council and put in a development application and asking them to revert your property back to a Torrens title property.
How long will that take them to get decided?
It may be a little bit of a process because whomever built the duplex, they would have built it under the existing council laws at the time, and it would have been a strata title complex. Right. Now, a quick question for you, Marie: are the two properties joined together, or are they separate?
No, separate.
They're separate. Okay. So what you can do, that gives you a fairly good chance. This is a rule for anyone who is in a duplex in New South Wales. If the properties are detached, you can actually insure them separately. You do not need to go under the same.
Do.
Yeah, you do already. Yep. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, but your first step, if you do want to do that, it'll be going down to the local council and putting in a development application to try and separate it. You then get a surveyor involved that actually redraw the plans for you and then separate it back into Torrens title.
Okay, good on you. Thanks for that. All the very best. What's the alternate to strata? And I'm just thinking about this out loud. Out my way, there's
like units.
No. There's got to be a minimum amount of land that you've got to have per home, right? But there was a development that took place down the road, and I think they built 5 or 6 homes, but all the 5 or 6 homes shared a common property of about 5 or 6 acres.
Yep.
Would that have been a strata setup?
It could have been a community title property.
What is that? What's that?
So a community title property is similar where the residents of a development, they may share common facilities like roads, footpaths, communal facilities. They might have a gym, a golf course, a pool. But the houses,
Spa.
That's right. But the houses that are on the estate are actually Torrens title single dwelling properties. Okay, right. But all the community or association property is all common property, which they contribute to. So roads, footpath, lighting, gardens, that sort of thing.
Okay, so very similar.
It's very similar. That's under community title legislation, which again is something which most strata managers are familiar with, and they can manage on behalf of residents.
Cool. Okay, this is the two Muzzies. Let's go to the Gold Coast, beautiful Gold Coast, and that's where David is. Hi, David. How can we help?
Good afternoon, gents. We live in a strata apartment building on the Gold Coast. We have ducted air conditioning, and the air conditioning units are on the roof of the building. Mm-hmm. And the Christmas night storm, we had a number of power surges. We actually end up being blacked out for 3 days. Some people were worse off. But the storm surge, the electrical surge, has shorted out the controller for our air conditioning, which is mounted on the wall of our apartment. Now, I approached our contents insurer because we can't have building insurance personally in the apartment. We approached our contents insurer. He said, no, it has to be covered by the building insurance. We went to the Strata Manager, who went to the Strata building insurer, who said, no, the air conditioning is not covered under insurance. In fact, there's Queensland legislation that specifically states that ducted air conditioning is not covered by Strata building insurance.
Oh, dear.
So should the contents insurer be liable, or are we stuck with a non-insurable item of equipment in our apartment?
Yeah, well, regardless of what's that, and I will admit I'm not familiar with that law that you quoted up in Queensland. The usual circumstance is that if an appliance is damaged during an insurable event, such as a storm, everything will be covered. Regardless, in this situation, if the strata insurer is saying that they're not covering it, then yes, it should revert back to your contents insurer in that particular circumstance. What I would be doing is asking the strata insurer to give you the specific clause within their policy that says it is not covered, and then quoting the legislation. Then when you take that back to your contents insurer, they should pick that up for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
But I think this is where we've asked that from the Strata Manager. We have a letter from the insurer saying it's not covered, but they won't provide us with a copy of the policy or any exclusions, and I suspect it's not even written in there.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good. Yeah. The next thing that you could do is lodge a complaint with the insurance ombudsman, and they do have a complaints process that you can go through to do that. But again, if you like, I can put you in contact with our colleagues up in Queensland, with our Queensland office, and they may be able to assist. So, David, I might get your details off air, and I can put you in contact with our Queensland office, which, again, I've got to admit, Queensland law is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but by the sounds of it, someone should be paying for your air conditioner. It's just a matter of trying to work out who it is.
Okay.
So, David, don't hang up. We'll put you back to the switch, and you can perhaps leave your contact details, and Stephen and the team will be in touch with you with that Queensland number.
Okay. And look, we've got an email as well from Greg. Greg sent us an email. I might forward it on to you and not talk about it on air.
Sure.
It involves millions of dollars.
Ooh.
So I'll forward that on to you, and you might be able to help him out and give him some feedback in regards to all of that. Where do you want to go, Muzz?
We're going to go to Waverton because Fushila is with us. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
It's Fushila, like
Fushila.
sushi.
Ah, right.
Yes.
Fire
Okay.
away.
We have an owner that didn't pay their levies on time and got charged interest. And they asked if the committee would waive that, and the committee said no because it would set a precedent. And he said, okay, well, I'm not paying it, so I'll see you in court. Take me to court. He was on holiday and didn't get his bill or whatever the situation was, so he paid it late and now has got some interest. It's only about $60, but he's just being difficult.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a pain in the bum.
Yeah, it sounds like he's being a little bit dogmatic.
Oh, dear
So
me.
generally the laws are with strata levy debts. It's one of the few debts where any money that the owner's corporation spends on pursuing the debt, they can actually pursue that debt against the lot owner as well. Now, given the amount that he's refusing to pay is only $60, your committee may need to sit down and think about, okay, is this worth it or not? Regardless, however, it will stay as a charge or a debt on his lot. So he'll lose things like he won't be able to vote at strata meetings. He won't be able to do those sorts of things. So I would try and...
just leave it. We just want to leave it there, but... And we're just thinking, is it better to leave it there or take it? No one's got time to go to court. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, and that's right. And court can be costly. I mean, look, look. In these circumstances, I'd be trying to work to a compromise with the owner and say, hey, look, we appreciate the circumstances, But yes, to answer your question, yes, you can leave it there, and it'll just stay there as a debt on the lot.
But what a pain.
Okay.
You don't need clowns like that, do you?
No,
I'm sorry about that.
He's just being difficult, and we don't even want to compromise with him because this is just how he is. So he's just messing us around. So that's good. Okay, we'll probably leave the debt there, and then he won't have any rights to vote.
And he won't ask for the Christmas party either. Good on you, mate. Thanks for the call. 131873 is our telephone number. We'll be back in a minute.
Stephen Brell is with us from the Strata Community Association. As always, more calls and not enough time. Where are we going?
We're going to go to West Pennant Hills. Hello, Jeff. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen. I wonder if you might be able to help me, please. We live in the top floor apartment of a block of 6 units, and we want to do a renovation to our bathroom, which involves relocation of pipes. The issue is, to do that renovation, we really have to access the pipes that run under the floor, and which means going into the neighbour's house underneath us. Now, he's being really difficult and not allowing access to his unit. so that that work can be done. I understand those pipes are common property. Do we have any sort of recourse in order to make him, to allow us to get into that apartment?
Yes, Jess, you do. There are provisions in the strata legislation that says if work needs to be done on common property and access to a lot is required, that can occur. In most circumstances, your neighbours are generally okay to let you in to do that, as long as you're restoring their property back to its original condition and so forth, and making sure that you're cleaning up. If they're being a little bit difficult, by the sounds of it, in your situation, yes, there is a specific section of the Act, it escapes me at the moment, in New South Wales, which does allow you to go to the tribunal to get an order to enter their property and actually undertake this work.
Wow.
You try and avoid that where you can. It's, again, far better to try and get along with your neighbours. Has he raised any concerns why he doesn't want to let you in? Or
Look, he's really just a difficult man to deal with, and I've had some conflict with him in the past, and has basically told me to get lost, that he's not interested. So
yeah, he might be growing something in there, or he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
no, but you can really do without that in a strata environment. Just a pain in the bum.
Yeah,
just get on with your neighbours, for goodness' sake.
Yeah, exactly. Look, wherever the case may be, I would encourage people to be create a harmonious environment, because there are going to be occasions when he may need to get in his neighbour's property to do a similar thing in the future to fix things up.
Good point.
Yeah. However, in this circumstance, I would again, there is a section of the Act which allows you to apply to the tribunal to get access to undertake maintenance works, and that's the way that I'd be doing it.
Good on you, Jeff. Hope that works out for you. Let us know how it all progresses. Probably the last call today, unfortunately. Mary, yeah?
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
Hello, my dear. How can we help?
What happens in the circumstance when you live in a block of units and there's major work that needs to be done, and so they're going to incur one special levy, and it's, say, around the $10,000 mark, could be up to 15, and you've got a person in there who hasn't got the money or means of getting the money, and they said until they've got all the money, they can't commence the work. Therefore, what happens under those circumstances?
Yeah, there are a couple of options here. We went through it. It was a call similar to this earlier today. So the person who can't afford their levy, they may be able to redraw on their mortgage to help pay for it. There is a new loan product that is out there on the market which allows an owner's corporation to split a loan. So the owner's corporation can take out the loan. Those owners that can pay the levy will pay it up front. Those that can't, the levy will be paid for that, and they'll pay that off in instalments over time. So that's another option. The owner's corporation could take out just the full amount of the works and actually then loan that money to the residents to pay for the actual works. So it is a common thing that happens in strata schemes. Again, people do find themselves in different financial situations and different capacities to pay levies, but there are a couple of options out there for owners that are in that circumstance.
Okay.
So,
I hope that helps. Hope that helps. Now, listen, there are many text messages. I think you've got a few emails over that side, Mars. We've still got three people on the line. So, look, 1,000 apologies. Well, at least 3 for the people who actually rung up. What's the very best number for people to contact your organisation, Steve?
9492 8200. We'd be happy to help with any strata questions you have. And again, apologies for all of the... I must have said something controversial today because we have had a lot of calls and a lot of text messages. So, again, lots about people who aren't able to pay their levies. How, again, if you want to give us a ring, we'll be able to help you out 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
There you go. And George, that may be a number you'd like too. A very long email about George. A tap put in 10 years ago. It hasn't been moved. He's now the resident local water carrier. People lining up at his front door filling up their buckets.
Oh, jeez. Right.
George, so you give the boys and girls with Stephen Brell a big call, 9492 8200.
Good to see you, mate. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you, guys. See you
All
next
the
week.
best. Two
Thank you.
Murrays, 4 minutes away from news time.